Welcome to VC Recommends I Listen, and this time we're going to have a two-parter. So we're going to chat about Brian Eno's Foreverandevernomore and The Turning Year by Roger Eno.
Yeah, both the Eno boys both had an album in the last month. I got both of them. Yeah, pretty amazing, pretty cool. Roger and Brian, both. Brian's, it's out of this world. I don't know. Either one of these guys could definitely be on my top 10. I'm going to definitely listen to them both a lot, heavily over the next 2 months. Basically, we have until the end of the year. But yeah, Forever and Nevermore just came out like 2 weeks ago. So this one's, it's fabulous. He hasn't done a lot in the last couple of decades as far as vocally. And this is one of the few. He adds a lot of, this is like a, it's pop song heavy, and not pop song. He's channeling his former self and stuff he was involved in the late 70s and early 80s. You can tell, channeling that, but the music is definitely toned way down. It's way more somber, and it's just kind of like Depeche Mode, but even more like depressing, if you can believe it, even more somber than Depeche Mode ever was. It's beautiful. It's just magnificent. So yeah, everybody, this is going to be a big, magnet for everybody in the next few months. Everyone's going to be drawn to this for sure, and really kind of like picking it apart. There's even like really cool like stuff that harkens back to like what he was doing in the the late 70s, like from the Ambient 1, Ambient 2 albums, like stuff that really reminds me of like Stephen Roach. If anybody loves ambient and synth music, like you probably have heard of Stephen Roach. Like it reminds me of like Structures from Silence, like some of the stuff he's doing. And then suddenly you're just like getting this real like Nick Cave and the Seeds, Depeche Mode, like this vibe of him just heavy reverb, just doing these dark, smoky, kind of almost crooning style vocals with just the really subtle dark piano. It's beautiful, guys.
So I want to thank Square the Circle for being my co-host tonight. So when Square the Circle was gushing on and on about these two albums, I decided that I needed to listen. And anytime someone says, hey, these are most likely going to be candidates for my top albums of the year, I definitely want to hear them.
Who gives a thought about the fireflies?
On the album website, Brian Eno experimented using tonal over major chord changes. Now, being a non-musician, that doesn't mean much to me, but that might mean something to you.
We open to the blinding sky.
As Square the Circle said, he hasn't done a voice album in I think at least 5 years. And Brian Eno stated, my voice has changed, it's lowered. And you can definitely hear that on the album. He also stated, as for writing songs again, it's more landscapes, but this time with humans in them.
Rang the whole day through.
You're also going to hear him collaborate, especially with some females, and I believe they're members of his family. Now, he also stated, I like creating worlds. That's what I do as an artist, creating sonic worlds. Now, after quite a long absence of humans in those worlds, I have tried putting one in and seeing how they feel in the world I've made.
Take us into land.
Brian Eno also stated, I've been thinking about our narrowing, precarious future, and this music grew out of those thoughts. Now let's go on to part two.
Roger's is exceptional. I'll be honest, it's more of the same, but he's fantastic at what he does. He never, he's not the experimental one. And he doesn't need to be, because honestly, when it comes to the tinkling on the keys, he's the best of all three of them. I think technically speaking, in a classical sense and technicalities, and how he is with his fingers and his compositional style. It's just more classically inspired. Out of the three, the big trio, Harold, Bud, and Roger and Brian, I just think he's the best player. This is amazing. It's on Deutsche Grammophon. Yeah, it's a Deutsche Grammophon pressing. It's beautiful. What's it called again? The Turning Year. It's just got all that beautiful, beautiful pencil artwork with the, tree ring inspirations. Such artsy fellers. The artsy fartsy guys. Yeah, it's just a single LP. A lot of music on here, though. It's gorgeous.
Again, I want to thank Square the Circle for co-hosting this part of the episode. And we are going to now look at Roger Eno's The Turning Year. Unlike Brian Eno's, which had voice, this one is purely instrumental. Roger Eno wrote, "The Turning Year is like a collection of short stories or photographs of individual scenes, each with its own character but somehow closely related to the other. These pieces allow us perhaps to think on how we live our lives in facets, how we catch fleeting glimpses, how we walk through our lives, how we notice the turning year." So this album is a blend of recent compositions and live favorites. Okay, now that we've sampled both, let's go ahead and discuss what I thought. So I had both of these albums. I had Brian's first, and then I had Roger's, and in the same playlist. And it was a joy to listen to both of them. And although Pitchfork reviewed and gave Brian a slightly higher rating than Roger's, I think they're both equally as good. These are both beautiful, beautiful albums. If you like instrumental and Windham Hill type music, then you're absolutely going to love these albums. If you enjoy classical music, you are definitely going to enjoy Roger Eno's album. If you're a fan of ambient music, even though there's voice, I think you will enjoy Brian Eno's album. Because in many ways, the voice is suited to the compositions, adding just another layer to the music. And like he said, he's trying to add the voice sonically to the landscape that he's creating. I highly recommend that you listen to both of these albums. Square the Circle is definitely correct. These albums are great and probably going to be on multiple viewers' top 10 lists this year. Give them a chance. Thank you so much for the support.